Hello and welcome to UK Horror Scene. I'm Tony. This is the crew. Wave if you like. Sorry, you don't have to wave. You don't really want to. If you don't feel like waving, it's fine. It's your prerogative. Do what you want, you're adults. Anyway, we are in the room and we are hanging with Mr. Tom Paton, whose debut feature Pandorica is coming out soon. It's out in cinemas from April 1st. Please check it out and let's find out more about it. Tom Paton. Tom, thanks for joining us.
That's alright.
Your film Pandorica?
Yep.
Tell us about it.
Pandorica, where to start? I mean, it's a post-apocalyptic movie and it's about the leadership trial of a tribe called the Varosha. So it's set in a world where humanity's reset itself. We're kind of living like Vikings and back in tribes, and this particular tribe has a tradition where the current leader picks his successor by trial. So he takes these three candidates off to a forest, which is where their people first came from, and the trial starts, but then things go wrong, another tribe get involved, and there's all hell breaks loose basically by the end of the film. But the whole film is about leadership, what makes a good leader, what makes a bad leader, and sort of, what makes the kind of leader in between, because sometimes you need that as well. So yeah, really just the whole thing is exploring leadership.
Yeah, it's cool. We'll talk about the pacing of the production and everything.
Yeah.
Even the film itself is paced very, very quick.
Thank you.
The characters are introduced very quickly.
Yeah.
You're thrown into the story very quickly, and then it just spirals and it doesn't really stop. It's a really good pace setup.
Thank you.
And I think for me, a lot of problems with some films is they take so long to set it up that by the time it gets to the action, you just don't care.
I think it's interesting. I mean, that really is it's an issue I think a lot of writers have. You want to take your time to establish characters and you want people to fall in love with them, but I really kind of live and die by the show don't tell rule as much as possible. I mean, obviously you've got to have your exposition, but I think for me the key with Pandorica was to I'm just going to chuck you in with these guys, because it is kind of it's so weird and jarring at first. They don't speak with British accents, they don't speak with any particular accent actually. It's like they've kind of got their own language, so the characters are bilingual. And I thought, the best thing to do is to just throw people right into the middle of this. And also, it helps when you're doing your budgets and stuff. If you can throw people in, then perhaps you can save time and money with all that exposition stuff that you would normally do. So for me, it was just the obvious choice, just chuck you in. And some people may get lost along the way, hopefully not. Hopefully I did a good job of making sure you know who these people are and wanting to watch them. So, really that's on the writer, I think.
No, you did. You characterised them very well, which is, you could distinguish the characters pretty much straight away.
Yeah.
And I'd say that'd be down to the directing of the performances as well as the writing, because you straight away take to the right character.
Yeah.
You set them as your protagonist really, and then the other two you kind of know where they're all going. It's nicely set up and it's nicely played, and it's paced really well. And I think that's the key to dragging you into the film in the first place. I love the opening shot, by the way, of the lights going up.
Thank you.
I love that. I really like that.
Do you know what? I think part of that came for me from, I think we've all used to seeing the Terminator apocalypse or the asteroid apocalypse. And I read this really fascinating article the once. It was all about, why haven't aliens contacted us? The maps said they should have. And somebody put this theory forward that, maybe civilizations reach a point where they just tip over and they reset. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. Actually jack shit happens. They just got to the end. And so I thought that's a really interesting setup for an apocalypse. And also it kind of makes for an interesting story, because, we're saying, look, this isn't an irradiated Earth, there aren't mutants running around, this is just Earth if nature reclaimed it, And we jump forward generations when the film starts. Our characters, they don't really know anything about the world we live in today. They're, for them, that's like tales of the old world, if you will. So
and you sold that really well as well, and I won't give anything away, but you sold that really well.
I guess it's hard not to do spoilers, right?
Yeah, you don't want to spoil it, but no, you do sell it, and there's that kind of fascination when they come across certain things, and you think, oh wow. Yeah. But you do get the feeling that this has been going on for generations and generations, that they've actually forgotten what was happening.
Do you know, it was a real key decision. I mean, we kind of played with the effects side of stuff, because like I said, me and the guys that work at my post house, Craig and Reese is crazy talented VFX artist, and we played with the idea of putting in some cities, like destroyed city shots and stuff, and when we were actually watching them in the film, I felt like they robbed it of it. I was like, look, this is just better if it's just a world where this stuff means nothing to these people, you know. So we took it out, and I think that the world itself kind of, for me, I hope it sells an interesting universe where we're not getting those Maze Runner style shots in the background.
I was quite glad you didn't do that, actually.
Yeah.
Because I was waiting for it. I'll be honest, I was waiting for it.
My
They're
gut instinct was to do it.
They're going to come across the Statue of Liberty. Oops, spoiler Planet of the Apes. And I'm like, oh my god, oh no, what did they do? What did you do?
You know, like in the very first draft of the script, like I was going to keep it from you as a viewer that you weren't going to know it was the future. You were going to feel like you're watching kind of some strange Viking film for half an hour, and then all of a sudden you were going to, oh god, it's the future. And I thought, do you know what? The Planet of the Apes thing is so done, and I think there's an honesty to just saying to your audience, this is the kind of film you're going to sit down and watch. And you know, I didn't want to sell you something in the trailer and then not deliver it in the film. So I was just like, look, let's just be honest with people. It's a post-apocalyptic film, and I hopefully feel that people will get into it. That's more, you know.
No, it did. It aided the film, actually. I think knowing the audience being in on it.
Yeah.
Knowing that where they were and what had happened, and it's really nicely set up with the text at the beginning, you know, explaining it, and then going into it, and it's like built those characters. But I think as an audience member watching that, knowing that they're on this futuristic Earth, this kind of burnt out Earth, knowing that there's stuff out there that they're unaware of, so when elements are introduced, you think, oh, I know what that is. So I knew, oh, okay.
I think that's it. You don't want to jar an audience too much with a film like this. And like I said, I mean, it could have been quite a sort of, oh, I don't know if I like this experience. Had I tried to keep that from you, and I think by just saying to the audience, look, this is what you're watching, you accept the fact that, okay, look, there's this weird stuff going on here. You know, the clothes they're wearing. I tried to do this sort of like reclaimed Viking look. It was like, okay, these guys like dress like Vikings, but the clothes they wear are clearly reclaimed from like hand-me-down tracksuits and stuff. And so there's an element, I think, when you're watching it where you're like, oh, I see. They probably 4 generations ago they obviously ransacked the Primark or something, you know, and so it has that feel to their outfits, I think. And I think if I'd have tried to hide that from an audience, it wouldn't have worked, and I'm glad we decided to go the route we did. So.
And the language you used in it, was that a made-up language?
Yeah, that I think is a really insane peer into my brain. I made that up because I kind of just thought there was this really great moment in Mel Gibson's Apocalypto, which, you know, I think really this film started out as John Carpenter directs Apocalypto. That was because I'm a massive John Carpenter fan. And I just thought, you know, if that guy had directed Apocalypto in the 80s, he'd have put it in the future, and he'd have had a couple of guys in masks running around. So I was like, yeah, but there was this really great moment in that movie where the tribe, and you know what, it's almost sad. I mean, I love the film, but it was sad they never revisited it throughout the rest of the film. But right in the beginning, the tribe are just sort of sitting around talking about, you know, the one of them can't get it up, and you know, they trick him into rubbing stuff on his balls. And I thought it's really funny that they're talking in this foreign language like we would, and so I really wanted to bring that element in. And the whole of the language that's spoken in this film is really the good bits. You know, if you learn a language, the first thing you do is you learn the swear words.
Yeah.
So I suppose I've got this merchandise idea in my head, people wearing swear words in foreign language on the t-shirt.
Dickhead gets used a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit of a phrase.
How do you say dickhead?
Pinger.
Pinger.
which is actually the password for the screener link I sent you. So I'll change that now.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, it was fun coming up with a language. I kind of pillaged from different languages. Oh, that kind of sounds cool, and then we just adjust it. But I think it was important for the actors to, you know, I wrote it as if it was English, you know, so it wasn't like grammatically backwards or anything. So it was like, this is what you're saying. It's very easy for you to learn and say it. So, because otherwise it could have been really difficult. And I think the actors did an amazing job of selling the dialogue, because, you know, there's these weird words on a page and you're like, you want me to say this? You know, but they did it.
You had a good cast, and they needed to be strong. They needed to come across well because of the way you set it up.
Yeah, I mean, we got really lucky with the cast, really lucky. I kind of sourced them all. You know, we didn't have the first time feature directors, you know, so you're trying to get those A-list actors. It's just, you know, it's not going to happen. So listen, if you're a filmmaker and you think, oh, I'm going to get George Clooney in your film, you're not, forget it. Right, so we kind of went out there and were like, how do we maximise on getting the kind of actors that will give us a social media push, but at the same time actually be good? So we hunted around Twitter, really. I mean, it was rather than going to your normal casting agents, we like stalked Twitter, and I found Marc Zammit fell into place first, actually, who plays Ares in the movie.
Yeah, we follow each other on Twitter, me and Marc.
Yeah,
I've never met the dude, but I mean, we follow each other.
He's got a huge Twitter. He's got like 200,000 Twitter followers, and do you know what? He's a really talented, dedicated actor. And, you know, I think he kind of, I think like a lot of actors, British actors in London, he keeps getting offered parts that are, you know, inner city, and you know, and then I come along, I'm like, hey, do you want to play this guy in the Tribe in the future? He's a bit like, okay. So yeah, he came on board, and he just did a great job with the character. And then next guy we locked in was Adam Bond, who he's playing Jesus on CNN in America at the moment. And again, he's just a really, really talented actor, you know, really on the up and coming, and you know, we were lucky to nab him.
It's a very again, that's a natural progression, isn't it? Like futuristic Viking Jesus.
Future Jesus. We'll go with that. Do you know what? Like, I'm sure he won't mind me saying this, but like, it was funny because he was really good. But the only notes I was ever giving him as a director was, "Okay, it was really good, Adam, but can we do it less like Jesus?" You know, it's like the only notes that we got, and then he'd smash it on the next take. But yeah, and then next we found Laura Marie Howard, who plays Flynn in the film. She's like the sort of the catalyst for this, you know, where the movie heads. But you know, it was important that she kind of had this unique look that was different from the other guys because she's from a different tribe. You know, and she's a very dedicated performer, stage performer. So I knew she was willing to throw herself around the forest at night, and she was, you know, so she was lucky casting. And then we got Bentley Kalu, who was in Age of Ultron and Edge of Tomorrow. He's just the biggest guy you've ever met. He's like 6'5" and just an incredible presence about him. So I was, yeah, totally in awe of the guy. He walked into...
Great voice as well.
Just like incredible, right? I mean, he's actually American, and he's the nicest, sweetest guy ever. And he came into the audition, and you know, we had like a whole day's worth of people to see for that character. But he was the first one in, and he came in and he did the audition, and I shit myself. I was like, this guy is terrifying. And as soon as the audition finished, he burst out laughing and said, "Oh, I've got this part." And I just went, yeah, you do. And I felt really sorry for everybody else we saw for the rest of the day, because I was like, yeah, but we've got that Bentley guy now. So he was amazing. But the real hard find was Jade to play Eiren, the lead. A very particular kind of character, you know, had to be very expressive of her face. She doesn't say a lot of dialogue, and when she does say dialogue, it's quite cutting, you know. And finding that character was difficult. We saw a lot of different girls for the part, and Jade, we actually used. She's a model. This is her first acting gig. She's never acted before, you know. So we took a real punt, really. But we used her photo, one of her modelling pictures, on the mood board when we were designing what the look of the film should be. And we saw girl after girl after girl for the part, and every time they walked in, I was like, yeah, could we make that girl look like that girl on the mood board? And in the end, we were like, should we just get the girl from the mood board in? And she came in and she just smashed the audition, and that was it then. From there on out, she was Eiren, and I think she does
a good job in it. Actually.
She's going to have an amazing career, I'm sure of it.
You would not believe that was her first role.
No, not at all. I think
she's got a very unique look in the film as well.
Yeah, I mean, those are her real tattoos. You know, they're not. Yeah, so you know what I mean. She's kind of like, I think she's the real find of the movie, and I think that I think she's going to have a great career. I know Death Race 4 is trying to cast her at the moment and stuff.
You know what, I was thinking of Mad Max type.
Yeah,
Death Race 4, there you go.
And you know, I've got big plans for the sequel, where we take that character. So you know, hopefully we'll get to work together again as well. So
I'd like to see where it goes. Going back, you said that one of your influences, John Carpenter.
Yeah.
I love John Carpenter.
I mean, who isn't? Yeah. If you're not, I don't like you.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
Yeah.
So especially something ordinary stuff.
I got a wolf in my throat.
That means time's coming on. He can't do howls anymore. But yeah, no, John Carpenter. I think especially the music. That feels very Carpenter-esque. Yeah,
that was really important to me, and I wanted that feel to it. Do you know, my big hope for the movie is that if you're a John Carpenter fan, you'll go, "Oh, I really like this film. I can't put my finger on it," and then it'll dawn on you why. So we tried to use loads of the wide shots and stuff, but musically, I mean, when I wrote the script, I listened to John Carpenter's Lost Sounds, the album he released last year.
He's got a second one coming out.
Yeah, I've already booked concert tickets. Go and see him. Yeah, I think it's at Halloween. I'm going to see him.
Yeah, so we interviewed Gav Chucky Steele, and he's going to that as well.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I'm just a massive fan. I found writing the script to his music, the script just fell out really easy because of listening to that album. So musically, we basically got some guys called the Prototypes. They're a massive drum and bass act, huge on iTunes, just a huge following. They did a lot of the music along with guys called Max and Steve, who were my regular sound guys. So it was a kind of a collaboration on the music front. But I'm so proud of the score. I mean, for me, it's the element of the film where, you know, when you've made a movie, I've watched it like 500 times now. Like, yeah, whatever. But I will listen to the score over and over because I think it's great.
It's a great score. And it is very John Carpenter, and even the film itself. you get the elements of John Carpenter, like the disparate group,
Yeah.
at odds with each other and
Yeah,
having
totally.
to band together to fight against
Yeah.
others, which is very, very John Carpenter.
But that's what John Carpenter did so well. I mean, for me as a young filmmaker with, you know, Tom Cruise's catering budget for a whole movie, you know, you kind of think to yourself, okay, what makes a great movie? Why are John Carpenter's films so great? And it's because he remembered that sometimes actually watching a room full of characters arguing with each other, like in The Thing, is more interesting than watching The Alien. You know, it's like and he always focused in on that. It's the same with Assault on Precinct 13, you know, which is one of my favourite movies. You never really even get to know the villains. You're just locked in with the guys, and he knows how to make characters interact and bounce. And yeah, I hope I captured like an ounce of that in this film.
You definitely get the sense of that and the feel of that. And I agree. I mean, Assault on Precinct 13 was great, and he was always great.
Right?
He always cast the right people and had the right dialogue and the right sound. And,
Yep.
And
But he did it all himself as well.
Yeah, no, the reason he started doing the soundtracks is because he had nobody else to do it.
Yeah, he did the soundtrack for Assault on Precinct 13 in a day, I believe, because you're going to get into the studio for a day. That's how much of a fan I am. I know these random facts, but yeah, I mean, he was a massive influence for me, just growing up, and you know, I think you can't. Hopefully, the film represents my own visual style, and you can look at it and say, okay, that's a Tom Paton film. But at the same time, you know, the nods are there, and you know,
it doesn't feel like a rip-off. It doesn't feel like you've gone out to make a John Carpenter film, but you can see the influence.
Yeah, I think a lot of
Which is
people
not
do
bad.
go out to
Yeah,
make
yeah.
a John Carpenter film. That's a mistake.
You can't make a John
They
Carpenter
don't,
film.
you know, like be inspired, but don't go and rip it off, you know. So yeah, hopefully it all shines through and people see the little influences. I'm like a hardcore Sam Raimi fan as well. I just love that guy's energy. So you know,
That's the woods in the woods.
yeah, that's where the forest came from. So
And you shot it in how many days? You shot this? This was a super quick shoot.
yeah, so we shot the whole film 11 and a bit days basically, like one extra night.
Round it down.
Round it down, we'll say 11, makes me sound better. Yeah, we shot a couple of days in the Lake District, which was like gruelling because we got up there and, you know, you kind of have all these well-laid plans for, you know, we've got the walkie-talkies and we'll be able to capture stuff on the phone and stuff. Like, if you're going to shoot in the Lake District, like, you will not be able to communicate. Like, you have to use smoke signals and pigeons, seriously. It's like, so all of a sudden we get up there and there's no signal to call anyone. The mountains block the radio signals, so you kind of end up in, like, this core crew with the actors in the middle of nowhere, and we were like, I'm just going to have to fucking get on with it, right? So it was a real crazy experience, that. And then we shot the rest of it in Billericay in Essex. We searched everywhere for a forest so we could have power and a toilet and cover if it was raining, and you know.
Very similar areas though, aren't they? The Lake District.
Oh, totally. I mean, you know, Billericay's just the land of dreams, isn't it? So, but no, we got so lucky with that location. We try and forest after forest, and the same problem: no toilet, no power, no toilets, no power. And it was actually, my wife was like, what about a paintball arena? I was like, yeah, but they'll have paint everywhere. And then a quick Google, there's this thing called airsoft where these absolute nutters go and shoot each other with BB pellet guns. Like, why would you do that? But they do, they love it. You do it, like, it's a strange hobby. But yeah, they have these like, this forest, like 160 acres. And in it was like an MDF village. MDF board, looked like, you know, someone had just like slapped it together. And there was like a couple of like old, like jet, like tanks that we like repurposed and made into bombs and stuff, so we could literally litter this site with remnants of the old world. The art department, run by Amy English, she just did the most amazing job. She turned this airsoft arena into the end of the world, so yeah, hats off to her for that one. But the location was great, and the guy who owns it, Jim, was just super helpful. Just drive up, it was literally him on his own, like, he didn't have to answer the council, anybody. You know, it's like, oh, is it alright if we run around and, you know, have fires and stuff? And he's like, yeah, sure, go for it. So luckily we didn't burn his forest down.
Yeah, that was handy.
Yeah,
I'm
it was good.
I'm sure you appreciate you not burning anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was 11 days shoot. Let's call it 10 days.
Yeah, well,
10 days.
I did it in 2 days, guys.
2
I was
days.
just an absolute trooper.
On your own, with shadow puppets.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was a really quick production all round from the writing, because you
Yes. So the script was born out of a frustration. I mean, I don't know how many people watching this are actually aspiring filmmakers themselves, but the film industry is a very frustrating business. And I'm self-taught, you know, I come from a commercial background. Like, from the minute I started filming, I was like, oh God, I've got to make money out of this, or, you know, I'm going to have to go and get a day job, and I didn't want to do that. So for me, it was always about, got to make money, got to make money, got to make a product that sells. And when I started to get into the actual feature film industry, went out to Cannes and I saw the sales agent stands and how they were doing stuff. And I wrote this other script called Endemic that just, you know, it kept starting. It was nearly funded, then it wasn't, then it was nearly funded again. And it's a script I'm so proud of, you know what I mean? And I think if I'd have made that film, it would have been great. But just like events conspired against it, and I really started to think the film industry is bonkers, and it's designed to really not let independent films make that breakout hit, not unless you've, you know, paid all your festival submission fees and you've gone about it the traditional way. And I really thought, fuck that. So I set up a sales and distribution company called The Film Label with George Burt and Nick Sadler, and the whole idea was we'll take the independent music world model and plug it into the film industry model, you know, and we can run like a digital record label, but instead of records we'll sell independent films, and you know, we know how to market, we know how to get things out there online and how to let people know that what we're doing. And so we immediately started marketing the film like it was a Hollywood movie. We brought a PR company on called Witchfinder straight off the bat. We had set visits from Starburst and My M magazine, and people were just like excited about this film that's like an original IP, like, oh my god, this is going to be big. And you know, we didn't tell them what the budget was, and we played it like that. And you know, really it was a proof of concept. We had this company, Mirror Productions, came on and gave us the money, which we were fortunate to find. Yeah. So yeah, they really liked what we were doing as well, so they supported that. And we, the whole thing was in production by September. We did the, you know, 11-day shoot, and then it went into post-production at the end of October, and it's gone off for its BBFC certificate today. So it's been...
And when is it released?
It's coming out April 1st. We are actually in cinemas. We're on VOD as well. I'm going to a little plug. Go to pandoricamovie.com. You'll be able to sign up, get the newsletter, find out the dates. We're treating the film like a tour. So just like a music gig, we're touring it, cinemas. I'm going to be doing Q&As at each of them. The cast are coming as well. So yeah, make sure you come and catch us, or at least do the VOD, guys, you know, support it. And then 6 weeks after that, it'll come out on iTunes and Amazon. And then it goes off to the United States for its release. Brilliant. So yeah.
And it's a good movie as well. So it is worth looking at. It's worth
what he said.
Right, we'll go to crew. Any questions from the crew?
Your next film, is it going to be a sequel to this?
Sorry. Yeah, it's do you know what? It's hard to say. There is a sequel to this. It's actually called Assault on Pandorica. There's a little nod there.
Good. That's nice.
It's a much bigger scale than this one. A lot more world building going on. There's lots of little threads that are laid down in this that are opened up in the script for the sequel. So yes, that is on the cards. I'm hoping we'll make Endemic at some point. I've retooled it. It's going to be an American film now, and you know, I'm working on another film called Glow, which is like Tron meets The Running Man, which is kind of like a thematic brother to this one, if you will, set on across one evening again, but pretty mad, that one as well. So yeah, there's lots going on, and Film Label as well we're signing other directors and giving them the same opportunity that I've got, saying, look, if I can do it, so can you. Here's 75 grand. Go and make something that looks like it costs £3 million. So we've got a guy called Taichi Gamora that makes all the Chase and Statuses videos. He's doing a film called Stairs for us. Yeah, we're on the hunt. So lots going on, really.
Fantastic. Anyone else?
Ivan Trooper. I was wondering, would you put the language that you invented, would you put that in another movie of yours or somebody else's movie?
Do you know what? Yeah, because that's kind of cool, right? You know, like, I kind of think it's funny when, you know, like the Star Trek films get funny if someone else uses Klingon. It's like, no, man, that's awesome. You know, so I mean, if I could have got away with it, I'd probably just use Dothraki in this film, but I'd have got the shit suit out of me. But no, I'd love that, you know, and I think it would be kind of funny to see the language pop up in a different story.
You need to bring out the book. That's what's.
We've got a pretty cool comic book coming out. Our work's been drawn to that now. Yeah, you've watched the film. It's all about the trial. Nuss, the current leader in this film, it's about his trial and what happens to Eiren's dad. And so if you've watched this film, go and seek out the comic, because it'll really fill in some blanks. So
there you go. Now we just need to build up the language. Have the
yeah. I'll tell you can do that. I'll give you my notes. Feel free. So.
Antoine.
Yes, a question about marketing and communication. What would be your best advice, tips, how to market your film or your project?
Do you know what? That's like a can of worms question, but you know, I think the reality of it is, I think a lot of us as filmmakers, we've kind of got this ingrained in our head, you know, like, and it's the same in any industry really, you know, the system tells you you're a small movie, you have to behave like a small film, like make your film quietly, don't disturb anybody, then bring it around the film festivals, and if you're lucky, then we'll let you in after you've paid your entry fee. Most of the time they don't let you in and you've just lost even more money, and then, you know, if you're really lucky, some journos will review you, and to be honest, that is a crock of shit. Like, your film is as valuable as you want to make it, and how you want to treat it. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying if you've made a bad movie, and let's be honest, we all, as a filmmaker yourself, you know if you've made something and it's not that good. I mean, I've made stuff that's not that good. So, but you've got to believe in what you're doing, you've got to believe in your products, because that's how the audience will. But social media is where it's at, you know, and we used a lot of cross-marketing, you know, like partnering with musicians and YouTube channels that have got huge subscribers. You know, we made sure to treat the product like a valuable thing. We got a PR company in right off the bat. I'd definitely advise that. You know, and you just got to keep handing it, like every day. Put a bit of your time aside. Get online, interact with your fans, let them know you exist. You know, make sure you've got, you know, the biggest thing, and this is the one that everybody fucks up on. Get a photographer. Like, the first thing you do on set, pre-production, get a photographer.
My name is Antoine. I'm a photographer.
Oh, that's handy, right? But, you know, because if you've got no photos, you've got nothing to sell your film with. And don't be cagey. We did periscoping. We kind of opened up what we were doing to the community, if you will. You know, and really just treated the product like, we were like, look, this is cool. People are going to dig this. We took it to the Comic-Cons, showed them, they were like, yeah, we like this. And so, you know, now we're at MCM Liverpool and NEC in March. We're at Sci-Fi Weekendo in March as well. So if any of you guys are at that, you'll be able to see the whole film there. But I think this is it, just get online, just know that you can build your audience, and know that people are out there and they're hungry to see what you've got. You just got to take it to them. No one's going to come along and do it for you. If you're waiting for that, oh, I put it in a festival and then Magnolia brought it for $3 million and everyone's heard of it, like dream on, because it just doesn't happen. You know, you have to be in the right place at the right time for that, and most of us sadly aren't, so make your own look, really.
And hire a photographer.
Yeah, and hire a photographer. Antoine's a photographer.
A French photographer from Paris, specifically. Right, we really are running over. Tom, thank you so much for coming on and chatting to us. Lots of good information for potential filmmakers there. Give them a round of applause.
Thanks, guys.
Well, and check his film out. It's a cracking film.
Pandoricamovie.com.